Hello everyone, Ace here, and today, well, I'm just going to have to go ahead and say it. Plantation Simulator deserves to be Game of the Year more than Mixtape does. Yes, really. Now, for those of you who are not aware, Plantation Simulator is a recently released game in which you run a plantation of the early to mid-19th century North American variety, and you do very on-the-nose things in that regard. Or at least that was the case with the original version of the game, the one that has caused a bit of backlash from the journalist crowd. But there is a bit of a plot twist, for you see, the developer behind this troll game, turns out, is a massive troll, and countered the accusations of racism by simply removing the racial diversity, which no doubt infuriated the activist crowd even more. It also infuriated those who wrongly saw this as an example of bending the knee. It's not really anyways. This is a case of someone just trolling the shit out of the activists. Case in point, the game has been changed again. You are now blowing kisses to your laborers, who are women in bikinis now, which again, I'm sure infuriates the activists even more. And I think at this point, people were starting to wise up to the fact that yes, this was in fact a troll game, willing to go out of its way to upset everyone. And you know what? Well played. The developer absolutely managed to troll a lot of people, including some that honestly should have known better, and who should have seen it for the troll that it is. But I know you're now wondering why I believe this game is worthy of being Game of the Year. Well, the simple fact of the matter is, I don't actually think it's worthy of being Game of the Year. I don't even recommend that you play it. I just simply think that Mixtape is so much more unworthy in comparison that in a hypothetical situation in which these were the only two games to be released this year, that the award should go to Plantation Simulator. Outside of that hypothetical, I can readily list numerous other titles that have come out this year that are more deserving. So with that particular potential misunderstanding handled, let's now move on to why I believe, more specifically, that even this game would still be more deserving of the Game of the Year award than Mixtape. Well, for a start, unlike Mixtape, there is actual gameplay, which kind of means that this game wins by default at that point. Because when you create a game that does not have gameplay, you have automatically failed. You have forfeited the match. And to those trying to suggest that Mixtape is actually a game because you require 150 button presses to complete the game, and yes, there was someone out there enterprising enough to experiment and determine that yes, that is the minimum number of button presses you need to beat the game. Well, by that logic, Netflix is a video game because you need button presses to go through the library of Netflix, as well as to continuing watching whatever you are watching on Netflix after a certain amount of time. So unless Netflix is a video game, you do in fact need more than just button presses to make gameplay. And on that stage, Mixtape is simply not really a game. And because it's not simply really a game, it cannot get Game of the Year award. Plantation Simulator, by contrast, does have actual gameplay. Even if you don't necessarily like the content of that gameplay, it is still, in fact, gameplay. And so, by default, it automatically is more deserving of the title Game of the Year as opposed to Mixtape, by the simple virtue that Plantation Simulator is an actual game, where Mixtape is not an actual game. Still, I don't recommend it for Game of the Year, and I also don't recommend that you play it. It was a troll game meant to troll everyone, and credit where credit is due, in that regard, it has succeeded beyond its wildest dreams.